Hi, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com. Today we're going to make a chocolate pavlova, and this is what it looks like. Isn't this a beautiful dessert? It starts with a base, which is a chocolate meringue cake, and that has a really nice crisp outside crust, yet inside it's really soft and marshmallowy, and then we place lots of whipped cream on top of the cake, and then whatever type of fresh fruit you like. So we're going to start this dessert by making our chocolate meringue cake. So preheat your oven to 300 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 150 degrees Celsius. And then you will need a baking sheet. And what I like to do, I mean, you can eyeball it, but it's kind of hard to do. So what I'm going to do is draw a 7-inch, which is 18 centimeter circle. So I just found this bottom of my tart pan that happened to be 7 inches, and then use some kind of pencil, and draw your circle like so on your parchment paper. And then of course we don't want the pen side on that, so just turn your parchment paper upside down so you can still see. So use a dark pen so you can still see the circle through. Okay, so meringue cake is a meringue, which essentially is egg whites and sugar. Now, you do want to have your egg whites at room temperature. So it's easier to separate your eggs while they're cold. So you will need 4 large egg whites, which is 120 grams of egg whites. So separate them, and then, whites in one bowl, yolks in another. Cover and put your yolks in the fridge. And then just cover your whites with, some plastic wrap and let them come to room temperature. That will take at least like maybe a half hour or so. So what you will need, now if you're using a stand mixer like I have here, you will need to use your whisk attachment, or you can use a hand mixer, or really, I mean, if you have a strong arm, you could use a wire whisk and a large bowl. So just put and also, always when you're beating egg whites, make sure that your bowl and your whisk are really clean. You don't want any like film of butter or something on there, because then your whites won't beat up to their full volume, which we want. And then I'm going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar, and that helps to stabilize our whites. Now, if you don't have cream of tartar, which some people find hard to find, then just use an equal amount of lemon juice. Now, cream of tartar you can find on with all the other spices on the baking aisle of your grocery store. So now what I'm going to do is beat this on medium-low speed until we reach soft peaks. Okay, so that's about what you're looking for. Nice and foamy and just soft peaks. So now, of course, we need sugar in our whites to get a meringue. So you will need 1 cup, 200 grams of superfine sugar. Or caster sugar. Now, you can buy superfine sugar, but it tends to be a little expensive. So what I just do is take 1 cup, 200 grams of just regular granulated white sugar, and I put it in my food processor, and I just process it until it's nice and fine, about maybe a minute. And what we're going to do is gradually, like tablespoon at a time, add our sugar to our whipped whites on high speed. Now, the reason we use superfine is it dissolves easier into our egg whites. And now I know some people say it's a lot of sugar, and of course meringue is sweet. But sugar is not just used for sweetness in a meringue. It also is what helps to form that nice crisp outside crust. So don't be tempted to cut back, or your meringue may not form that really nice crust that is famous for in the pavlova. So what I'm going to do is just gradually add the sugar, and what we want is nice, stiff, glossy peaks. I've added all my sugar, and it looks like very stiff. What you want is, when you raise it, real nice, you know, pretty stiff. But what the real test to make sure that your sugar has dissolved completely into your whites is to just run a little between your fingers. And I can feel a little bit of grittiness, which tells me that I need to beat this a little more. Because the reason you want to make sure that that sugar is dissolved completely, because if it isn't, then while your meringue cake cooks in the oven, you may see little droplets of water forming on the outside, and that's a sign that the sugar did not completely dissolve. Okay. And another sign is you want to see that nice stiff peak. That's another way you can tell that your meringue is done. Yep, that feels good. I mean, doesn't that look gorgeous? So pretty. So now what we're going to do, a little flavoring, so half a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. If you don't want that, you could just leave it out. And then we're going to add 1 teaspoon of vinegar. Now, a vinegar, it's acidic, and it's kind of like with the, similar to the cream of tartar, it stabilizes our egg whites, and that really helps our meringue from not collapsing as well while it bakes. So I'm just going to beat that in. Now, the type of vinegar you use, I just use like just a white distilled. You could use some kind of flavor like a balsamic if you know, whatever you like. If you want to add a little flavor. Make sure that's all mixed in. And then, of course, this is a chocolate pavlova, so we need some cocoa powder. You will need 2 tablespoons, 15 grams of unsweetened cocoa powder. So you can use the Dutch processed or just the natural, the regular unsweetened, whichever you would prefer, or whatever you have in the house. And then we're also going to put 1 teaspoon of cornstarch, corn flour. And then, because, you know, cornstarch as well as cocoa powder can have lumps, I'm just going to sift that over the top. Yes, it does have the cocoa powder does have some lumps. So there we go. And then, you know, you could fold it in with your spatula, or I'm going to just beat it in. You don't want to overbeat it because we don't want to deflate our whites. So just gently, low speed. Okay, I'm not going to completely do it, just partly. Doesn't that look gorgeous? Nothing like meringue. Okay, that looks good. So now, using our circle, but first, sometimes that paper can come up in the oven. So I just take a little bit of my meringue and just to hold down our parchment. 4 corners. So, it's good. And then we're going to pile it in. Now this is going to be a really thick, tall, I guess you could say, meringue. And that's why we get that really nice soft center. Oh, I didn't quite mix all that in. Oh, that's okay. It's because of the height of our meringue. Okay. And then, I mean, you could just use your spatula. I've got just a straight edge spatula, smaller one, and you can really kind of have it just like haphazard like that, or you can smooth it out more. Just try to keep it within that 7-inch, 18-centimeter circle there. That looks good. Now, some people like to have the center kind of dipped and the sides a little higher so you can fit the cream. Really, it's just up to you what you want to do. That looks pretty good. Now, how soft you want your inside of your meringue is really about how long you cook it and how long you let it cool. You know, the longer you cook it and the longer it sits drying out, the firmer it will be. Really, it's just about personal preference. So we're going to put this in the oven. Now, as soon as you put it into the oven, drop your temperature down to 250 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 120 degrees Celsius. And then we're going to bake it, you know, if you like it really soft, bake it for about an hour, a little firmer inside, bake it for, you know, so 60 to 75 minutes, in that range. Everyone's oven is different, and then it's personal preference of how soft you want that inside. So you know, try it at, say, 75 minutes and see if you like it this time. And then, as soon, like when the 75 minutes is up, then turn off your oven, but leave the Pavlova in the oven and just open your door a bit. Depending on your oven, you may have to put like a wooden spoon or something to hold it. Leave the door ajar with it off and let it cool completely in the oven, you know, at least a couple hours. So doesn't our meringue cake look really nice? As you can see, it's got a nice crisp outside crust, a little cracking. That's very normal for a meringue cake. Now, I let mine cool for about 2.5 hours. Now, at this point, what we're going to do here is finish our Pavlova off. If you wanted to, you could cover and store this at this point for a couple of days. So now we're going to take it off of our parchment paper. I like to just lift it because my baking sheet has sides. Kind of hard to do it. And then I'm just taking a large, some kind of spatula, or you could just use a knife, and just, okay, and put it on our serving platter. Now, I have heard that some people, what they like to do is not have it like right side up. They like to turn it, you know, upside down. You could do it that way if you want. I'm going to leave it like this. So now what we're going to do is do our whipping cream, which is the classic topping for your Pavlova. Now, if you, what I did is I did chill my bowl and my beater because it makes it easier to whip your cream. Like if you're using a stand mixer like I have here, use your whisk attachment, or you could just use a hand mixer, or oftentimes I just use a large bowl with a wire whisk. Gets a good workout for your arm. So what we need is 1 cup of heavy cream or heavy whipping cream. That's cream with a 35 to 40% butterfat content. And make sure your cream is cold. It whips up the best when it's cold. And then we want some sugar. You know, depending, really this is personal taste, 1 to 2 tablespoons of granulated white sugar. So that's about maybe 15 grams. And if you wanted to make chantilly cream, all you need to do to make chantilly, as opposed to just regular whipping cream, is add just a little bit of vanilla. But I'm not going to bother here. So what I'm going to do is just whip this until we have nice soft peaks. Okay, that looks good. As you can see, nice soft peaks. I think I forgot to say that you need 1 cup of heavy cream, which is 240 milliliters. So now, and another point, you don't want to put your cream on your meringue cake until shortly before serving, because as soon as you put that cream on top of there, the meringue is going to start to break down. So this does not hold very well, the pavlova. So just keep that in mind. I would do it shortly before serving. So just pile your cream on top. And you really, if you want less cream, you could use less or more, whichever way. And then I'm just kind of haphazardly kind of putting it on top. You don't have to pipe it or anything like that. And then fruit. We need some fresh fruit. Now, there's whatever type of fruit you like. You can use passion fruit. There's kiwi. There's all kinds of berries like I have here. Raspberries, blackberries, strawberries, blueberries. You could use some cherries. You could use peaches. I mean, orange segments. Really, the list is endless. And you could use one berry or one piece type of fruit, or what I have here is quite a medley. Of course, chocolate and raspberries is one of my favorites. So I'm going to put that. And I mean, you can get fancy and put it, oh, it's already starting to clap. Don't worry, that's the way it's supposed to be. It's just kind of like a really kind of a messy type of dessert, but kind of startled me there. And then we got the kiwis. You know, lots of nice color. It looks so pretty. I mean, what's better than meringue, cream, and fruit? I mean, it's just perfect any time of the year. And some blackberries. My family likes all different types of berries. So that's what I'm going to do. And, of course, strawberries. Rick's favorite. Oh, doesn't that look gorgeous? Real showstopper dessert. Everybody loves it. Now, when you serve this, you can cut it, or you could just spoon it into a bowl, whichever way you like. But we have to try a piece, so. Okay. Go. Now, this is quite messy, so like I said, you may want to just put it in a bowl, which I often do. So I'm going to try to move this out of the way so you can see it's kind of hard. That the center, as you can see, you got the crisp outside and then the soft center. Because it's hard to see on my piece here because I've got all the cream and everything else. So let's try. Like that. That's delicious. Got that really crisp, outside crust, soft, kind of like a marshmallow inside. Nice chocolate flavor. It's amazing what 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder does. Then you got the cream, which goes with that, kind of takes away from the sweetness of the meringue, and then of course the fruit. Really great dessert. Try it. And until next time, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com.